Alan Blinder with his take, now professor at Princeton University. Do they still have the sort of bias to cut? Are they itching to cut, or maybe not as much as we thought?
No, I think they still have a bias to cut. Look, you're comparing it with going up. I think the notion that they're going up was a will-o'-the-wisp and is gone, basically. So, yes, they have a bias to cut. I think they're still haunted, frankly, by the mistake they made way back at the beginning of this process of not going up fast enough and letting the inflation rise more than anybody, certainly the Fed or anybody, wanted. That memory lingers on, and I think that's in large measure what's holding them back. But to your point, yeah, the next move is going to be a cut, and the question is when. And frankly, though you didn't ask, I would throw my cards in with the 2 cuts still this year. We'll see.
You're thinking what, September and December? Can they cut as soon as September?
You know, I'd like to put on the table, nobody's talking about this at all, cut in July. That's the last day of July 31st. Has the virtue, from the point of view of the Fed, of being further distant from the election so that it doesn't look, even when in people inclined towards conspiracies, it doesn't look like it was a pre-election move.
Alan,
I would bet on that. To be clear, this is a 20% probability in my mind,
okay.
Not 0.
Okay. You know, we just talked about this inflation scare that we got in Q1. We've been chatting more recently about residual seasonality and wondering how many more years we're going to make this mistake of thinking that inflation is worse at the beginning of the year. Do you think models need a fix?
Models do need a fix, but to say that is one thing, to do it is another. I mean, the models got a gigantic shock. These are statistical models. They don't know about pandemics and things. They know what's February and what's March and what's April. And they got quite a shock during the pandemic. And it'll take a while to wash that out of the seasonal adjustments. So we're going to be worried about the seasonals for a while yet.
I also think the dots need a fix. I've been saying this for a while. I mean, you yourself just said you're betting on 2 cuts. The market is betting on 2 cuts. The Fed put out its projection for 1 cut. If you look at the median, obviously 8 members think they're going to be 2 cuts this year. But I don't know. Are they helpful?
Can I just correct you a little bit? What you said is exactly right, but it leaves out something that to me was very salient. The committee, if you look at the dots, it was pretty closely divided between 1 cut and 2 cuts.
Right.
It wasn't like there was an overwhelming, the median was for 1 cut, but it wasn't like there was an overwhelming vote for 1 cut. The committee
no, it was 4 no cuts, 7 1 cut, 8 2 cuts. So yes.
Yeah, 7 and 8. I mean, I'm leaving out the no cuts.
Are cuts helpful? Are dots helpful?
What?
Are dots helpful?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I've never been a big fan of the dots, to tell you the truth. They're a little bit helpful. It gives you a notion of the dispersion. Look, I just used it now, and to point out that they're very clustered around 1 cut or 2 cuts, almost evenly split. That you see from the dots. I think it's somewhat helpful, although you want to the median, and the media do point this out in fairness, the median dot, which is what everyone focuses on, can easily be moved by 1 person changing their vote.